This is Mac OS Ken.
Brazil wants Apple to open its App Store. Indonesia says no to Apple's $100 million offer. And Drops of God takes home the gold. It is Wednesday, the 27th of November, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management, your solution for MDM and identity and access management. Learn more at 1password.com/MacOSCan. This show is also gravy by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and pass the yams at patreon.com/MacOSCan. The latest country to demand Apple open iPhone to third-party app stores has lined up and is being quite insistent. Engadget says CADE, the antitrust regulating body in Brazil, is demanding that the Cupertino company make changes that allow for purchases from third-party app developers without going through Apple. The clock on this is ticking loudly and quickly. The piece says regulators have given Apple 20 days to make the change. Every day after that changes are not made will mean a fine of roughly $43,000 US. Engadget points out that that's really not a lot of money for Apple, though the company didn't get where it is by giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars per week, and besides, they'd probably say there's a principle at play or something. As for what Brazil is seeking specifically, they will have what everyone else is having. Under the ruling, the report says Apple must take steps such as allowing third-party developers to tell their users about alternative locations to purchase their goods or services, and to include buttons, external links, and other calls to action that show users alternative ways to access their products rather than just in-app. Developers would also be able to use other in-app purchasing systems, theoretically avoiding Apple's 30% commission structure, distribute their apps in places other than Apple's App Store, and more. All in the next 19 days. Sounds totally dinner rolls. Indonesia has officially answered Apple's $100 million investment offer. The answer is no. We talked about this possibility earlier this week. Recapping how we got here, Apple was roughly $15 million US short on planned investments to Indonesia, so Indonesia banned the sale of iPhone 16 in that country. Apple offered the country an additional investment of $10 million US, then, perhaps realizing the error in their math, upped the offering to an investment of $100 million, perhaps missing a more glaring error in their math. The report earlier this week had Indonesian authorities considering a big nope, and that is the direction they've chosen. A report from Agence France Presse has Indonesia saying Apple's offer lacks the fairness required by the government. It's apparently not about the amount of money, but what it's being spent on. The country's industry minister is quoted in the report saying currently Apple still has not invested in production facilities or factories in Indonesia. According to AFP, the industry minister said the ministry urged Apple to immediately set up a production facility or factory in Indonesia based on the fairness principles so that the company doesn't have to file an investment scheme proposal every 3 years. At this point, I feel somewhat compelled to apologize to you. Somewhere along the way, while writing today's show, holiday-itis hit me hard. If you listen closely, you can probably cranberry sauce when that happened. Anyway, let's press on. Kind of a frustrating story from the Financial Times on Tuesday. It basically boiled down to Apple's going to have a hard time getting Apple Intelligence approved for China if it doesn't do what we're all expecting it to do anyway. The piece hinges on comments from an unnamed official in the Chinese government. Quoting the report, a top Chinese tech regulator told the Financial Times that foreign groups such as Apple would face a lengthy and complex approval process to run their own models and indicated partnering with locals was their best option. The high-ranking official at the Cyberspace Administration of China said it would be a comparatively simple and straightforward approval process for foreign device makers to use already vetted LLMs from Chinese groups. Didn't we know that that's what they were going to do? While Apple uses its own AI for relatively simple on-device tasks, heavy lifting here in the States is done through a partnership with OpenAI. Or will be once everybody gets iOS 18.2. OpenAI is unlikely to ever get approval in China, leaving Apple to partner with Chinese players, which I'm pretty sure we already knew was the plan. Maybe even that relatively simple on-device stuff has to happen through partners as well? It's unclear from the report. And kind of frustrating. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, 1Password Extended Access Management. Your staff is quick and resourceful. That's why you hired them. Give them a task, they get it done. The thing is, they may not know why you want them to do things a certain way, namely to keep your business secure on the tech side. You have certain apps and devices you want them to use. They know a faster way with other apps and devices, which is great, except for the part where they've opened your business to risk. Mitigate that risk with 1Password Extended Access Management. It brings all those unmanaged devices, apps, and rogue identities under your control, making sure that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional identity and access management and mobile device management miss. It's available now to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Your people want to do a good job. Let 1Password Extended Access Management help them do it safely. Check it out at onepassword.com/macOSken. That is the number 1, onepassword.com/macOSken. Parade. Remember when Apple used to do fundraisers in conjunction with its customers? It's reviving one of those for the next week. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company is once again lending support to the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. If you're not familiar with it, that is a global fund set up to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. The piece says Apple runs this donation campaign ahead of World AIDS Day on the 1st of December each year. This year's program will straddle that date. According to Mac Rumors, Apple plans to donate $5 for every purchase made using Apple Pay on Apple.com, through the Apple Store app, or at an Apple store to the fund from Friday, the 29th of November, through Sunday, the 8th of December. Apple said its donation this year will be capped at $3 million. Now, if I'm doing the math right, and there is seriously no guarantee that I am, but if I'm doing the math right, that is 600,000 Apple Pay transactions. We can do this. By which I mean you can do this. It's not that I'm not giving, I've just done all of my Apple shopping for the time being. On the heels of Apple's charitable spurt, feels like a weird time to ask about Product Red products, so I'll let Mac Rumors do that. A friend asked me a few months ago what happened to that, the thing where Apple would make versions of its products in the color red, then turn a portion of sales of those products specifically over to the Global Fund. In a piece separate from the Apple Pay promotion piece, Mac Rumors points out that Apple has very few Product Red products at this point. According to that, the only current generation Product Red product that Apple sells new is the iPhone SE3, which is expected to be discontinued in March. Beyond that, its only remaining Product Red products are the iPhone 14 and a handful of older iPhone cases. It's interesting to see the question pop up again. What would be more interesting would be an answer. Holding my breath in 3, 2, hold on. Just getting a message. We should not hold our breath. And finally today, if you're looking for something interesting to watch over the holiday weekend, you might consider the award-winning Apple TV Plus series, Drops of God. And yes, that award-winning part is new. The Hollywood Reporter ran a report Tuesday that had the French, American, Japanese manga adaptation, produced by Legendary Television, winning the award for Best Drama at Monday night's International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Awards. This is the one about the wine guy who dies, leaving his estranged daughter to compete with his protege for the late man's wine collection, the greatest collection in the world, according to experts. It's biological daughter versus spiritual son, with the daughter at something of a disadvantage since she knows nothing about wine and has never even tasted a drop of it. I tend to like my manga with giant robots, but whatever. A second season has been announced, though it has yet to hit the stream. 8 episodes in Drops of God Season 1. All 8 are available to stream now on Apple TV+. So I don't know whether there's going to be a macOS Ken tomorrow. If there is, it won't be the usual thing. Maybe a fun conversation, maybe a heartfelt message, or, just know that I will be thinking about you and wondering whether you're thinking of me. Let's try not to make it creepy. I mean, yes, I may wonder what you're wearing, but in a totally wholesome way. Probably. Anyway, I do have another show to tell you about today. This week's checklist, brought to you by SecureMac, focuses on online shopping, particularly some AI-enabled pitfalls, and how we might avoid them. We're going early to beat the Black Friday Cyber Monday madness, so you're looking today for checklist number 402, Avoiding Shopping Scams 2024. Find it at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get pie. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Learn more at onepassword.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.